What's good, everybody? This is Dario Hunt from Living Life Fearless. Welcome back to another entry into my weekly Let's Talk Music series, where I give my general thoughts and opinions about the latest albums, EPs, mixtapes, and projects to have crossed my path over the past couple of weeks or so. As always, if you're liking these videos, please smash that like and subscribe button for me, as it helps us out greatly. And if you like any of the gear that I rock in these videos, like this one right here or this right here, you can also head over to the official site and grab some for yourself. We are having a special 35% off sale going on all summer on everything in the store, so don't miss out. But enough of that, let's just get right to the music. Jim Jones has always been one of the weaker links to me out of the entire, Diplomats kind of set. But with this one right here, he really surprised me in just how much he has grown as an artist. So much so that I found myself confused as to if this was the same Jim Jones that I've always known. Because his bars have definitely stepped up onto a whole nother level, and he provides some actually real meaningful content with his lyrics, not just, typical gangster ballin' type of stuff that you would kind of associate with him before. And the production to go along with it is absolutely fire. Having one production team behind the entire project was definitely the right move to make here, and they provided him something extremely cohesive from front to back. And they provided him soundscapes that were very similar to those early 2000s kind of Dipset sound, while still keeping it along with the modern times without feeling a bit too cliche and just reaching for, the modern mainstream audiences. So he has something for everybody. He has something for the older kind of Dipset fans, and he has something for the newer audience that might not be so familiar with who they are and who he is, and just their overall sound and what to expect from them. It was just a shockingly good project from him, and honestly, the best project to come from the entire Dipset camp in a really long time. And it had me saying something that I never thought I would say. This Jim Jones album is fire. Save Me is probably Future at his most experimental in I don't know how long. There's definitely a formula to everything that Future does, particularly with some of his more recent projects, but he tries to buck that trend a bit more here with, some more experimental production, and he tries things a little bit differently with his vocals than you've really heard, and he tries to lean more into that kind of alternative R&B lane, and I think he does so more successfully than he did on, say, Hendrix. Now, that kind of high-pitched whining voice he leans into entirely too much can be a bit grating as things go on, but since it is only 7 tracks, it is more than passable, and it is, nice to hear and nice to see him trying to kind of break that mold that we've all expected him to come with. And while he doesn't necessarily succeed in every avenue, it is enough to kind of warrant a listen. Miley Cyrus has been on the news in the Twitterverse a lot recently because of this project in particular, where she officially makes her reintroduction into hip-hop. Now, contrary to what a lot of people out there think, I really have no problem with it, because hip-hop is as mainstream of a culture at the moment as anything else out there, so it's no surprise that somebody like her would want to kind of dip in and out of it. Now, does she do it in a successful manner is the only thing that is my concern. Yes and no. Yes, because it is all rather enjoyable music to listen to, and no, because it is nothing particularly new or interesting to anything else that has already been done. And at times the songs all feel like, different variations or different versions of other songs that we have heard from, some of her peers out there over the past couple of years. And it's really more of just a sampler to kind of try to show off just how versatile she is as an artist. But the real strength of the project definitely comes from just how polished and how clean and everything sounds, and just how strong and unique her vocals remain to be. So while it isn't the most invigorating kind of re-entry into music, it does more than enough to make me want to hear more. With this being a project from such a large collective of sort of obscure underground type artists and acts out there, particularly NY artists and acts, I was really hoping, expecting to hear something a bit more varied and diverse than what we actually got. Because unless you are a sort of diehard fan of a lot of the artists and acts that are involved in this collective, you will have an extremely hard time in distinguishing between the different artists and rappers on each and every song here. It all sort of just washes into one another, and the production isn't that interesting either. While it is more than passable for the larger kind of posse rap cuts that you would kind of expect, when it does try to get more, I won't necessarily say radio friendly, but kind of get more outside of that just rapidy rap box, it fails pretty spectacularly. So as a true hip hop head and fan of the entire culture and just rapping in general, it is a pleasure to see that more kind of posse rap making a comeback and to see them actually just out here spitting tough bars. But as a fan of music, it's just not all of that interesting. And it doesn't really do a whole lot to make me want to go back and listen to it more. But it is still worth a listen for the bars alone. Tyga has definitely been my comeback artist of the year for 2018. Somehow, some way, he always seems to pop back up every few years after taking a massive amount of L's and come back with an absolute smash hit that just can't be denied. He actually had me looking forward to a Tyga project, which is something I never thought I would say or believe again. But after all that build up and after all that hype into seeing that maybe he is, kind of resurrected and resurgent, it all amounts to not much at all. At this point, he just basically fully committing to that club rapper stereotype he has, kind of grown into over the years. And he doesn't really give you much of anything else. At least when he first started, you did have the club bangers, but then you had the more introspective and more meaningful content. Here it is just straight banger after banger, and while the production is good in that typical Tyga DJ Mustard type of way, it doesn't really do much for me as a whole. So while he did make a comeback with a couple massive singles, I don't think there's enough here in this project to make it a sustained one. Avicii is an undeniable legend, and his passing was a huge loss not only for the dance world, but just music in general. And while it is nice to kind of hear more music from people that have passed, it is always a shaky road at best. And Tim runs into the same problem that a lot of posthumous albums run into. Yes, these are all songs that he probably had worked on some capacity, and yes, they might have the kind of general overarching idea that he was going for. It just never really feels like it is fully him or fully his idea. It feels more like Avicii and friends, and it's not surprising considering it was his friends who actually finished this project. So while we get a kind of general feeling and idea of him as an artist, it all just feels extremely shallow. And while there are a few good songs here and good numbers here, it just doesn't really hit or resonate on any real emotional level to me. But that's it for this week's Let's Talk Music. What did you guys think about the albums that I talked about? Which ones were your favorites? What albums are you guys currently listening to? And is there anything out there that you think I missed that I should, kind of talk about or just check out in general? Let me know in the comments down below. And as always, if you're liking these videos, please smash that like and subscribe button for me, as that helps us out greatly. And if you are liking any of the gear that I rock in these videos like this or this, you can also head over to the official site and grab some for yourself, where we are running a summer-long sale where everything is 35% off. But until then, until next time, I will be back shortly with more music and more discussions. As always, join me in talking about music in the comments wherever this goes up, but I will be back shortly with more. Until then, catch you guys soon. Peace.